العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدم. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
So we start off with the first hadith that the author rahimahullah ta'ala mentions. He says الحديث الأول عن أمير المؤمنين أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله تعالى عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. رواه إمام المحدثين أبو عبد الله محمد بن إسماعيل بن إبراهيم بن المغيرة بن بردزبة البخاري الجعفي وأبو الحسين مسلم بن الحجاج بن مسلم القشيري النيسابوري في صحيحيهما اللذين هما أصح الكتب المصنفة. So the author rahimahullah ta'ala, he brings the first hadith. This hadith is a hadith that was described as one half of Islam. Half of Islam is based on this hadith. Why? The reason why they say this is because Islam is built upon inward and outward actions. Islam is built upon inward and outward actions. Inward and outward actions. This hadith, it talks about intentions, which is the foundation of inward actions. Every single action that you do is built upon this hadith inwardly. So what's left? That's half of Islam. So the second half is the outward actions, and that's everything else, right? So this hadith was described as half of Islam because of that. So he says, "An Amir al-Mu'mineen," from the leader of the believers, Umar ibn Khattab, Abi Hafs. Abu Hafs is a kunya of Umar. Abu Hafs is a kunya of Umar, and he was the father of Hafsa. But here it says Hafs, and that's because the kunya is not based on his daughter. The kunya is based on Hafs, the word Hafs, and it's not based on his daughter. And they used to call him Abu Hafs, not Abu Hafsa. Umar ibn al-Khattab, Umar, son of al-Khattab, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the great Sahabi, the second best of this ummah after his Prophet and Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu is Umar radiyallahu anhu, the best of this ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. The second from the rightly guided Khulafa al-Rashideen, second from the rightly guided of the Khulafa. He narrated this hadith. And what is amazing about this hadith, Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah ta'ala mentions in his kitab Jawami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam, which is the best explanation of this book Arba'in al-Nawawi. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he mentions that no one narrated this hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam except for Umar. And no one narrated it from Umar except for Al-Qamah ibn Qais. And in one narration of the hadith, he said it on the minbar, in front of the people. He said, Ayyuhan nas, O people. The Prophet ﷺ said this on the minbar. He said this on the minbar, he said, O people, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. It's rated by Bukhari, right? And what's amazing is that only Umar radiallahu anhu, he narrated it, and only from him was only one man. And from him was only one man. I think it was Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, the great tabi'i. And from him, thousands of Muhammad Ibrahim al-Taymi, it was Al-Qamah, and Ibrahim al-Taymi, then Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari. They are the ones who narrated this hadith only. Then from Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, Ibn Rajab mentions that over 300 different narrators narrated from them, and because of that, this hadith, it became so widespread. It spread out to the masses. And it's the first hadith that Bukhari started off with in his Sahih. He says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Your actions are judged by intentions. What does that mean? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. It means it has two meanings. It has two meanings. Two meanings. Number one is, the first meaning is that actions are only done because of the intentions. Yani you, as a human being, you don't do anything without an action. Therefore, the only action that's going to be counted from you, whether it's good or bad, is something that you do intentionally, with an intention. So that is information that the Prophet ﷺ has given us. It's some news. Actions are by intentions. It's information. The second meaning is that actions are judged by intentions. Meaning, the actions that you do, they are going to be judged according to the intention. So when we have this, when we understand this, we understand that there's a great principle in the Sharia that we have, and that is the ibtalul hiyal. It is to falsify loopholes. We can't take loopholes against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because an intention is what the intention that you done the action for is what made it allowed or not allowed, made it halal or haram. So in this hadith is ibtalul hiyal. We get rid of loopholes. There are no loopholes in Islam. So for example, a person, I'll give you an example of it, and this is why, look, this hadith, this is just one ruling of fiqh that we're taking. There's something called nikah al-tahleel. Nikah, where a person, they divorce their wife 3 times. Then we know that if a person divorced their wife 3 times, they're not allowed to go back to their wife until someone else marries them, and then they have intercourse with them, and then they divorce them, and they can go marry that woman again. Right? Now, a person might divorce his wife 3 times, then regret it. So what does he do? He gets a man, and he makes that man marry. He asks the man, marry this woman, and then have intercourse with her, and then divorce her, and I'll marry her again. Why? It's a loophole he's trying to take. And so the Sharia, based on this hadith, it makes that invalid, null and void. It's not allowed because your intention was to have a loophole. Similarly, there's thousands of masail that comes under this hadith. Another one, for example, a person, he's allowed to break his fast during Ramadan, right? You're allowed to break your fast during Ramadan. But let's say a person, he travels in order to break his fast. He leaves the country just because he doesn't want to fast in Ramadan. Do we say he's allowed to break his fast? No, he's not, because his intention is different. So there's no loopholes. The point is that all of your actions are